Hello, this is Inside the Press Box with Sunil Sunder Raj for the Everyday Fan Sports. This morning, I'm happy to be speaking with Patrick Anderson, recently named the new manager of the Pakistan national baseball team that will be competing in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers in Panama City starting on September 30th with a game versus Argentina at 8 p.m. Patrick, thank you again for the opportunity to be able to speak with you and just about here managing the team and looking forward to seeing you guys compete in just 2 weeks here.
Oh, pumped to be on here. Good to be able to meet you, and seem like you got a great little gig here, and I love your energy. And let's rock and roll. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it here. It said just as far as Pool B in Panama City, Panama, teams are the host city, Panama, Nicaragua, Brazil, Argentina, and New Zealand. So wanted to get your perspective, Patrick, just on the group and just, in terms of the potential for Team Pakistan here in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers.
Well, I'm getting to know, I got to get to know our team first. That's going to be exciting for me. Getting to know some of the coaching staff and getting an idea who's who. That's first and foremost of what we can do and what we can be able to, produce and how we can produce and what we can be able to do on that baseball field. So I'm looking forward to that. Obviously going up against, anybody at the international level and, in the sense of, the best of the best of those countries. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a challenge. Obviously, you're playing a game of baseball, a round ball and a round bat, umpires and throw the ball over the plate and all that fun stuff. So there's a lot of variables involved in trying to be able to get people on the same page to move forward and be successful in this game. It's tough. So it's going to be a fun challenge. Really respectful for the other countries and we're gonna go out and give it our best for sure.
And to ask you, Patrick, just being able to get this opportunity, just talk about this entire process, just leading up to, the announcement.
Yeah, well, I had a man named Brian Minetti who was assistant GM for the Washington Nationals when I was there for 9 years as a manager in the minor leagues, and then he went on with the Phillies, and I know he has a lot of contacts in international baseball with regards to the Major League Baseball, in the international pool. So he had got a hold of Saeed and Syed, and both of them are pretty close, and he had approached me, meaning Brian, said, "Hey, there's an opportunity. Would you be interested?" And obviously I'd spoken to my bosses with the Cardinals and their opinions and their thoughts to get approval. And this is a great opportunity. I mean, obviously the World Baseball Classic and what it's doing for all over the world is so important, and it's so great to be able to grow this game. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big fundamentalist. I love to be able to teach the fundamentals, and hence the reason why I've been with the Royals, learning the fundamentals from teaching from them as well as the Nationals, and now with the Cardinals. It's been a blessing for me, and I'm looking forward to it. Really am.
I know that this team, the players, the country, it's going to be carrying a heavier heart because of the recent flooding, very tragic situation in Pakistan. I'm wondering, that's going to be, I'm sure, on the minds of these players, trying to keep them focused on the task at hand, but knowing, of course, in their home country, what, the families, the rest of the people who live in that nation. Just wanted to get that. I think that's important to talk about, Patrick.
Very, very important. And I was one of, I just had spoken to Brian and then, got the approval. And so I started doing some digging on, just trying to get to know the culture and literally like within a day that situation happened. And it was my heart felt for them and you sit back and you're just like, you don't really get a perspective on life until those type of things happen, which is sad. It shouldn't ever. So like I said, it's a moving time over there, and I want to educate myself more about their upbringing and everything. I'm looking forward to be able to meet the Pakistani people and really kind of knowing. And I've done some homework of what is going on over there, so I'm really intrigued and very, very heartfelt, very honored, and looking forward to be able to embrace their culture, and hopefully they'll embrace myself.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just said, before we came on there, I said that have been able to interview and talk with some of the players, as well as pitching coach Randall Arms as well. Randall is, over there as well, said working with these players. I'm sure that's really, again, vital, in terms of establishing that connection, with, you talked about the culture with the team as well, with these guys, because this is a very young team as well. I mean, we have kids who are in high school, who are in college. Just talk about that. I mean, just developing that team bond, that chemistry as well. Again, because you need a cohesive unit. Once you guys start taking on these top teams in 2 weeks, Patrick.
Yes, I mean having youth is a lot of fun because they're very very much listening. Their ears are open, their eyes are open. So that's the fun part. Obviously getting experience is really important, just like anything, like driving a car or what have you. But we're looking forward to just getting to know these young men and be able to teach them. And I think that's what's so cool about the Pakistan, the country, in a sense of what we're trying to do or what they're trying to do with regards to baseball. Yeah. And Syed has done a great job of doing it from the ground level. And that's where it comes from. It comes from like little leagues all the way up and moving forward, teaching the game. And, I want to learn more about cricket and how that can be able to correlate. Not really, understanding the rules and understanding the people and the culture. So like I said, not to get into it too much other than, learning from the ground level, the fundamentals is something that we believe in. And I know that that's the same, over there. So I'm looking really forward to having that youth. It's going to be some growing pains, as everyone knows, but this is what growing baseball all over the world is about, to be able to start from somewhere and hopefully build on it.
This is going to be just an incredible environment down there in Panama City, South America. I mean, just to, of course, baseball is very popular down there. I mean, to see, and especially there's so much riding on the line in terms of the top two teams. They advanced to the World Baseball Classic, said next year in 2023. Just talk about, I mean, not only for the players, but for the coaches, you as the manager, being able to, had that opportunity to be in that situation and under those circumstances. That's going to be pretty exciting. I'm sure you're really looking forward to as well, Patrick.
Well, like I said, I've heard from numerous people that have done this, and they say it's done really well. It's top notch. It's Major League Baseball is really in the forefront of this, and they don't just do things just to do things. So it's going to be done as we say it in the big league way. I saw the stadium. I actually know, kind of ironic, a couple of the players that I coached this year are going to be in Team Panama.
Okay.
And, they were telling me about it and give me the rundown. So it's going to be exciting. I'm sure it's going to be beyond exciting for everybody involved, especially players. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, very, very festive. I'm sure down there. I wanted to ask you, because now with the growth of social media technology, you see a lot of these players, they're posting their, training videos, practice games. You can actually pick up on a lot what these guys are doing. I had to ask you about that as well, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, having these resources are allow us to be able to get an idea from being afar, so that helps out a lot, lay some eyes on who some of these young men are, and that gives us a pretty good taste before we get into it. We're gonna hit the ground running. I know we're gonna try to see if we can get a couple workouts in. There's so much going on to where you can't get everyone together like you would like to, but we're going to get guys together right there on the 28th, 29th, and then on the 30th, and before we play. So we're going to cram some things in there. We're going to get these kids prepared, and we're going to get after it.
Yeah, you talked about the fundamentals, the skills, that go into this. I mean, there's so much in terms of preparing for a season, for a player, strength and conditioning, nutrition. So I'm sure that's going to play a pivotal role here, especially when you start play as well on September 30th, Patrick.
No doubt. I mean, training and taking care of your body, your mind, and being prepared, give yourself the best chance to be able to compete is all what everybody's, sought after. So, I'll be intrigued to see how these young men are, preparing themselves. And again, hopefully we can be able to help them out in such a short period of time so we can win some ball games and be productive, to say the least. So hopefully they come in prepared. The youth are a lot of fun because
Yeah.
they don't really know yet and they're learning, and hopefully you can be able to help them, and hopefully it's
Yeah.
in the right way. So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Hey, it's not just about showing up to the ballpark every day. There's a lot that goes into being prepared. I said you have a vast amount of experience, but I had to ask you in terms of getting ready for this, just, what, you've been going through. Because, of course, this year you've been busy as well. I mean, manager of the Peoria Chiefs said, I had to ask you just transitioning, of course, from that role. Now here you're jumping into the mix here with Team Pakistan. So just had to ask you how that has evolved as well for you, Patrick.
Well, first things first, I want to get to know this coaching staff, kind of get an idea of who's who, so we can be able to, be on the same page. Obviously going from top down is having the same message as much as we can. I'm a really aggressive manager. I believe in catch and throw on the baseball, very aggressive on the bases. I love to be able to do those type of things, and I think kind of get an idea of who we have a plan pitching wise, because that's the main goal. Is we need to be able to have somebody on that mound, and get a good feel for who's defending and who's playing where. The offensive side is just for me being able to compete, having your fundamentals of possibly bunting, moving guys, getting guys on over and in. So that's what the Cardinals believe in, and that's why I'm really excited to be able to bring that to the table. Being able to implement that in a short period of time is a challenge, but I have a little bit of a plan. So if we get that mindset, and those guys really want to get after it and buy in a short period of time, I think we got a pretty good chance to be able to be whoever we can possibly be.
Yeah, and also being able to scout these other teams. And something popped into my head. I don't know if this plays, again, if this matters as well. When you look at the ballpark that you're going to be playing in terms of, and then of course, how that relates to the roster that you have also as well. I just had to, get your thoughts about that as well, Patrick.
Well, I mean, I'm getting to know, like I said, first thing first, I try to segment one thing and then move on to the other. I looked at the ballpark. It looks like a pretty big ballpark. I mean, it's got a lot of land out there. When you see that type of thing, I look at it like I want to have some speed. I'd like to be able to have some speed and guys can move around and really talk about, keeping guys at second base as outfielders and understanding that and playing, just catch and throw the baseball. But the other parts is moving on the bases. I think that is like a game changer to really have some discipline and being put pressure on people. So if that's done right, I think it's going to allow us to have some little advantages that are just the in between stuff. So bottom line, it comes down to pitching, and we all know that. If you don't, I always laugh, and I tell every single one of my clubs this when I talk to the pitchers. I don't get involved too much, other than I tell them this. I said, hey, if you throw the ball over the plate, I don't know what's going to happen. But if you don't throw the ball over the plate, I know exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. So if you can understand that, we need to be able to have guys that throw the ball over the plate and those strikes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't really know a lot about the different countries. I'm doing some homework on some of the rosters to get a little bit of an idea. I have a pretty good feel for a couple of them. You got your Panama. There's some guys that ex-big leaguers. There's some guys in the minor leagues, very good players, but I have a pretty good feel for some of them. So I'm excited about that. But I'm really looking forward to our club, and I think that's the most important thing. We need to be concerned about what we can do and move forward with that.
Yeah, no, it's true. Hey, just in terms of the growth of baseball, you see now, of course, in Asia now, and they're going to be starting up a league next year. I mean, it's just fantastic to see that you got players now from Asia that, again, are competing, high school, college, even minor league ball. You have some players even in the majors. I mean, the fact that the pipeline is very strong, that nucleus, and you're going to see now, I'm sure, here with the World Baseball Classic, that they're going to be players that really have breakout, games, and are going to get looks here now from Major League Baseball teams. I mean, that just talk about that component as well, Patrick.
Oh, it's the game is growing, as we speak. I mean, it really is, and it's such a great thing for not even just Major League Baseball, everywhere. Just culturally, and just bringing people together and understanding how important this game can be fun, challenging, and it's awesome for all levels, from little leagues all the way up to the big leagues. And I've been really fortunate to being, traveled. I went to Sweden. I've been to Belgium. I've been to Germany. I've been all over. I've been in Taiwan. I have a few buddies that are, coaching over there as well. And it's just hearing what and seeing what type of, different type of ball players there are, but they're all, the coaches and people are trying to do the same type of thing in a sense of training, but different ways to be able to communicate that is so awesome to be able to see from all different cultures. I went to Sweden and Belgium, and it reminded me of like the first starts of what I'm hearing with Pakistan. It's just, there's some players that have a little bit of talent. They're learning and they're eager to learn how to train. So it's, as a whole, it's just awesome to be around. It's so exciting. And like I said, being able to be on the ground level is so important to be able to teach these kids how to catch and throw the baseball as simple as possible, and hopefully be able to, keep with this and move forward and hopefully grow this all over the country.
Yeah, I agree. It's really creating that base and foundation. Almost reminds me. I was thinking, just again, it popped into my head is $1 Million Arm. The movie I said years ago about the two players from India, and like the fact that they got said the contract from I think it was the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they were now one of them of course is in the WWE. But just the fact that you see that again it's so. Again, wonderful to see, the opportunities that they get, and, some of these stories that really can, turn out on such a positive note, Patrick.
Exactly right. It was kind of funny that I did a couple camps down in Bradenton, where the Pirates have their site, for young high school, middle school kids. Yeah. And a couple of the players were there, and actually one of the pitchers that were, signed.
Yeah.
From that movie that they made that movie, he was down there. So I was able to talk to him. So it was really kind of full circle and kind of cool. Yeah. Really neat.
No, definitely. I think again, these countries, you see it with other professional sports as well. The NBA is doing it. They're opening up camps, training centers, of course, in India. And I'm sure, it said they're doing it in other countries, and it's just great to see that. Again, it's a worldwide, sport and audience that they're also trying to bring in as well. Hey, I just have a couple more left for you, Patrick. I had to ask you, said being the manager of the Peoria Chiefs, said affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals organization, you're wearing the shirt proudly. Just what that means, your 25th manager of the franchise. I'm sure that was very, humbling and just very special for you. Just talk about your time here, as the manager.
Very, very fortunate. I was with a couple of organizations. I was with Kansas City Royals and learned a lot from them, and then the Nationals for many years, and then being able to go to high A, which is about 4.5 hours away from home, or excuse me, 3.5 hours away from home. And going to a level in an organization that I've heard nothing but awesome things about. Like the Cardinal way is what was the phrase that kept coming up to anybody I spoke to in regards to the Cardinals. And it's just, the Cardinal way is it's all about fundamentals. It's all about catch and throwing the baseball, playing the game right, hitting behind runners, getting guys on, over and in, and doing it the right way rather than just, sitting back and waiting for home runs, the way some, there's a lot of fun to that. Don't get me wrong, but learning the game and playing the game correctly is what this organization has done, and they've been successful doing it. So, being able to be around people like, gosh, I can't even tell you, Jason Isringhausen, Ludwig and Jose Okendo, and watching Yadi Molina in spring training was just. At age 49, I was still a kid in the candy store watching him work with the young players, and it's genuine. And so, I know I don't want to go on with soapbox, but it's just really exciting to be a part of an organization that is, old. I would say old school, but just they're baseball people, and it's really awesome to be around people like that. So I've been very fortunate, and I had a great year. People always laugh. They're like, "Oh, you guys were like, 18, 19 games below 500," and I turned to them. I said, we sent 15 guys up to the next level, and they were prepared. And that's what it's about. It's there's some guys that we didn't win some ball games, but we got better, and that's what the minor leagues are about. And people always say, like, I've had seasons where we won championships. They're like, "Oh, you had a great year." I said, "It was a lot of fun." But to be honest with you, this past year, even we lost a bunch of ball games. We did really well, and I was really happy with the development. So that's what I really took away from the organization so far, and I'm really fortunate and blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's terrific. I mean, just see last night. I mean, 325th start between Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina. I mean, you'll never see that duplicated, I think, ever again. So that you talk about again, the development of the players within the system, within the farm system, and to see them elevated to the next level. And here you see the result, last night, which was just so memorable. And it just again a great ballpark, great fan base, and it's terrific to see that. You've been also it said Washington Nationals organization. You won a championship there. I mean, you said just talk about that. I mean, you said just outstanding numbers that you posted, and leading them. Just talk about your time there as well, Patrick.
Very good organization. They gave me an opportunity. My first year, I managed in the Gulf Coast League, and it was so funny. My boss turned to me and he goes, "I don't care how many games you win. I just want them to be able to pick up the baseball, throw it. I want them to, make sure that they understand how to be professionals and play the game the way we want them to play it, and fundamentally sound."
Yeah.
And I turned around and we just kept winning ball games, and it was just a product of just guys being so energetic. We were in Florida playing when it was like 90 some degrees at midway during the day. It was like 1 o'clock. So, anyways, I couldn't believe the staff was great. Everything. We won. We were 62-9, and it was ridiculous. And it was, and it's not us per se. It was the players. The players played, and they bought into what we were talking about, and it was great. So the point is that from that day forward, it was a lot of fun. And I had some other, Bob Boone, who's been around baseball for 40, 50 years, got on the phone and said, "Congratulations, but don't get used to that, because minor league baseball isn't always that way." But the point of it was I was able to be around a really good group of people that have been on the same page of developing. And my boss was great. Doug Harris was unbelievable. And I still keep in touch with him. So it reminds me of a lot of things with the Cardinals, of Gary LaRocque, my boss, and just how he communicates, and Mazziliak. Gosh, those guys are grade A people, unbelievable communicators. And so, just learning from the Royals to the Nationals, and then now to the Cardinals, it's along the same type of lines of great communicators, good teachers, and good people, and that just gives you a better chance. And obviously, you better sure to get some good players. So
definitely you need that structure. You need that structure in place. I mean, without that, you're toast. And the fact that you've done it from rookie, ball all the way up to AAA, I think that's what's really so impressive, Patrick.
It's fun. I was fortunate where I was with, AAA club for a handful of months with the Royals. And I was filling in, and I've been in AA a little bit, but mainly at the lower levels. And to be honest with you, the ground level is really important, to be able to, set the tone and build the foundation of the fundamentals. So that's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed that more so than anything.
Yeah, and also coaching Cape Cod, the Cape Cod Collegiate League, Hofstra University, just switching to the college level. Hofstra, said where you were not only associate, coach, but also the head coach. Just talk about your time there as well, Patrick.
It was a challenge. I mean, I learned a lot of things, and I did wrong, and I'm very humble to say that, and open to say that. I try to force the mentality of the old school way of my way or the highway, and I did it wrong sometimes, and I learned through that, going, hold on, there's new type of ways to communicate, and it was a learning experience for me, being a head coach at a college or being an assistant, and just being thrusted in a position that I had no idea what was going on. I knew my own style of, what worked for me, but not work for everybody else. So, learning as you grow, young in a sense of like inexperience is kind of like the same thing we're talking about with the Pakistani, players. Like they're young, they're energetic, and they have some ability. So hopefully we can be able to teach and push them in the right direction. And, like I said, from my experiences of doing it wrong, I've learned to be able to get close to being right. I wouldn't say always right, but close to being right, and understand the mentality and personality and communication in different ways is important for these young men. And being open-minded for all the analytics and all different ways to be able to communicate is really important nowadays.
Boy, you brought up a great point, with analytics, because, that's, I mean, everybody talks about that these days. So just had to, get that quick, said nugget in there, just, from your perspective, Patrick.
Yeah. I'll be quick with that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good information that can be utilized. The analysis by paralysis has been going on, a handful of times where it's a little much. I know that with this organization, with the Cardinals, we have a good mix of taking information, understanding what it is for that player, and be able to convey that. And hopefully they can be able to take it and run with it. So, not going full one way and not going full the other way. It's just, they're being stubborn that we're not using that. It's not productive for the game. And I think there's a lot of positive from the analytics and numbers, and that's important for us and helps out the game, helps out the players.
Yeah, no, definitely. So got to take it all the way back to when you first got your coaching, career underway at Gannett University, Erie, Pennsylvania. So when you look all the way back to that point in 1996, what comes to your mind first and foremost, Patrick?
It snowed this way, and rather than just that way, I felt it. Once again, it was an opportunity. I had a guy that when I was playing independent league baseball, and I was single, and he said, "Hey, you want to come up here and help coach?" And I said, "Where are we talking about?" And he goes, "It's Gannett University in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's really nice in the fall, but fall's only a couple weeks, and then it starts getting cold and cold for a long time. But it was a Division II level. Once again, it was ground level. It was just teaching the fundamentals. It was learning as we went. The resources weren't as great, but we made do. We found a way, going to the back of those corners of a gym when there's some people going around and running around doing different stuff. We found a way to teach catching and throwing the baseball, and it taught me a lot. And I was humbled, so humbled. Yeah. And just being creative and find a way to get it done. That's what good coaches do. And I've learned from a lot of them, for sure.
Yeah, you just take with what you have, the resources you have available. It's so cool that you play in the Frontier League. I was just saying to myself, I've covered the Frontier League now here the last 2 seasons here, with the New York Boulders, and love these names. I mean, the ones that you played with, the Chillicothe Paints and the Zanesville Grays. Boy, I mean, I don't know how they come up with these names, but it makes things a lot interesting in terms, I guess, of the marketing, the merchandise. I mean, but I had to ask you is that about the fan base, the community, that gets overlooked, like how much there is, and then the employees that work, for these teams. Just talk about that, because it's a collective, unit that, you bring together every year. Just talk about that, Patrick.
It is. I mean, from the independent leagues that I was involved with playing, then getting into the minor leagues, coaching wise, I've really, accumulated a lot of good friends and good people. Everyone, it's so cool to have baseball as essentially located, aspect or thing or fun game. And then there's so many different people that are part of it. It's not just the head coach or the manager, it's the hitting coach. It's everybody that's involved, the atmosphere, and communicating to the GMs, to the front office people that get people in the stands and have the fun atmosphere during the game. So yes, and the community, good Lord, it's so good. I was in Burlington, Iowa. I still go back there to see some of the people that I've met throughout the years. A long time ago, when with the Royals, Hagerstown, Maryland, so many different places, and now in Peoria. And I was in that league 15 years ago, and I saw a bunch of the people that were still there when I was going through Burlington, Iowa, and went through like Wisconsin and all these other places. So it was a lot of fun. It still is a lot of fun. Have so many good relationships. I stayed at a host family in Peoria on a farm 15 minutes away, and they were teaching me how to grow sweet corn and shuck it. And so, like, when you talk about getting to know the community, been
Yeah.
very fortunate to be around a lot of really good people and knowing, the Midwest and East Coast and the South.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's great to see the way of life in different parts of the country. And you're right, host families. That's another part. I mean, because covering independent ball with the Boulders when they were the Rockland Boulders, now the New York Boulders. But yeah, you're right, host families, because players got to stay somewhere. They can't stay in a hotel. They stay with these families. So 4 or 5 months. I mean, they're playing 100 games. During that span. It's great to see that. And then we talk about front office interns. I mean, there's so much staff. I mean, parking attendants. I mean, everybody, said has a role to play, said in terms of organization being successful. Hey, I had to ask you, when it comes to the game of baseball, now you played the game, but of course, coaching, managing. I'm just wondering, what are some of the intangibles of the game that really make it so special? You obviously have a passion for it. You have a drive for it, Patrick, but just what is it that really makes it again, so enjoyable every, year after year?
For me, it's getting it. And when we say getting it, it's finally have a breakthrough moment of conversations to where you can be able to talk to a young man or a young lady, whatever sport it is, baseball or softball or whatever you're coaching. And if you're able to work through a day or a game or a week, a month, and finally the light turns on and they get it. They understand what they need to do to be successful or move forward or make an adjustment. That on the coaching side is such a relief and such a good feeling because you've helped, and that's the biggest thing. You're a servant of this game and these players. And, we get caught up into the wins and losses and we get so into the game. It's part of it's emotions. It's part of the challenge. But for me, the takeaway is it really is, even though I push guys and I challenge them and I get into them or I give them hugs and pat them on the back. However, we try to find a way to communicate. The best feeling is when they actually take something and they have some aptitude and they actually apply it in a game. And it's so hard to do. I sit back so many times coaching third base or in that bench and going, you know what? It's a hard thing to do, to throw the ball over the plate with so many variables going on, umpires and wind and players and be able to hit a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. It's so easy to say why the heck you're not doing that over in the bench or third base, but when you get up there, it's a pretty hard thing to do. So that's my takeaway. I get really excited about that, and I look forward to hopefully impacting as many kids as I can.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hey, I wanted to ask you, I wanted to get this one in. Mar Hills College in North Carolina, your time there. It said degree in phys ed with a concentration in sports management. So your time there, I had to ask you about that as well. And in native Silver Springs, Maryland.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been all over. My mom moved down to North Carolina, Asheville, after I went to high school in Maryland. And I went to a junior college, Brevard Junior College in North Carolina. And then I had an opportunity to play football and baseball at a Division II school where they were able to give me some pretty good scholarship. It was a decision whether I wanted to go Division I to play just baseball or stay near my mom and play two sports. And I was able to do that. And that was a lot of fun in the mountains of nowhere. And it was great. Learned how to fly fish and all that fun stuff. So it was a really, really cool experience.
That's terrific. Hey, of course, you need solid support. You talked about your mom, family. Had to ask you about your wife, Larissa. In just terms of support, that you received here in your journey, especially, I said managing and coaching.
Yeah, she's a real coach in the family. I tell everybody that she's the head coach at Mizzou, head softball coach there. She was at Hofstra University for many years. She was an assistant for about, I want to say 16, 17 years and a head coach for 4. We have different conversations at a dinner table. We talk about drop steps and outfielders, and defensive alignments and how we hit, how we catch. And so it's a little bit different than some of the other, couples talking about. We talk about baseball and softball more than anything. So I think she knows way too much baseball right now to where she can really give me some trouble now. So it's kind of but she's been very supportive. She found out about this and I told her, I was like, there's an opportunity. And she was all for it. She knows how cool this is and how impactful I can possibly be. So it's really awesome. Very, very awesome to have the support from her.
Again, that's tremendous. Hey, before we get the final word here, message, Patrick, I'm wondering what advice, message you would give out to the younger kids out there who are playing baseball or trying to, move up the ladder, and even the people who want to break into the coaching ranks. I'm, again, with so much expertise that you possess, I'm sure that you have some really sound advice, for the kids out there, and even, people want to break in as well, who are coaches or break into the ranks.
Yeah, I actually do. One of the biggest things for the players nowadays is backyard baseball, stickball, being creative to learn how to be able to catch and throw the baseball and put an emphasis of that, not just throwing hard, not just trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Understand how to be able to control the bat, understand how to be able to put the barrel to the ball, understand how to be able to catch and throw the baseball, make that important every day. The limelight of seeing all these highlights are great, but understanding what the process is to be able to catch and throw the baseball, to have those opportunities to play, to be successful, to hold runners, to be able to, get players out, defensively, and not so much being worried about, pimping balls, flipping bats, and all the fun stuff. There is some fun in that, but like if you can learn to be able to handle the bat, catch and throw the baseball, and do things fundamentally sound, and really work hard with that on your own, not just from the times that coaches tell you to be there. I think that is so important for what we've lost. And I think we need to get back to the ground roots of that. Now, for the young coaches, get to know the players, really get to know the players, be open to all different ways to be able to communicate and how bodies move, how minds think, and, really, really ask questions of the players rather than dictating and telling. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned and still learning. Ask, communicate, see what they think, and then find a way to work it out that everybody can be able to get better. It's mainly the players. So those are the two biggest things that I would recommend for the players and the coaches.
Well said. Okay, Patrick, get the final word and message here. Family, friends, players that you currently coach and have coached, as said, and then teams, and also your new team now, the Team Pakistan, that will be playing in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers in Panama City. The floor is yours, Patrick.
Well, like I said, I've been very fortunate to be around really unbelievable people. I've learned from being wrong and learning to be close to, I wouldn't say right, but learning to be able to help. So I've been fortunate, and I can't thank those people and some of those young men and even young ladies that I've coached in some softball programs as well in the off season. They've been impactful for me to be in positions that I can be able to be more impactful for others. So I thank them more than anything. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity with Team Pakistan. I really am. This is really cool for me. Just to be able to help, and we're going to get after it and have some fun. I've heard so many great things about the attention to detail, the listening skills, and the excitement from that culture. So looking forward to it. Getting out of Panama. I've never been down there, so it's going to be kind of neat. I don't know what kind of food we're going to have down there. So, it was really nice to meet you, and thank you very much for having me.
Hey, just an incredible honor and privilege, Patrick. And again, congratulations. I said being named the manager of Team Pakistan, and wishing you and the rest of the players and coaching staff all the best in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers in Panama City, Panama, especially against Argentina on September 30th at 8 p.m.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.